Jon Moxley etches his name into wrestling history. And we got a great weekend of wrestling ahead. Welcome to the Wrestling is Bullshit Report. We got it all here for you. Let's get into it. You know how we do. If you don't, we start with the results. We got Nathan Frazer and Axiom defeating Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker for the NXT Tag Team titles on this past week's episode of NXT. We also got a debuting Tama Tonga on SmackDown as he and Solo Sikoa jump Jimmy Uso, seemingly kicking him out of the bloodline and ushering in a new era of the bloodline. One that Paul Heyman isn't so sure about. Seems like with Roman gone for a brief amount of time, however long he's going to be gone, it might be longer than a brief amount, to be honest. We got Solo Sikoa calling the shots, and he brought in Tama Tonga, the son of Haku, former New Japan Pro Wrestling star, now a part of the bloodline. We also got rumors of Jacob Fatu coming in, man. Looks like we are far from over with the bloodline stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but I can smell a civil war cooking up once again. This is how I see it, man. You got Solo calling the shots now that Roman Reigns has lost that title. That's going to create some friction when Roman Reigns comes back. I could see Roman Reigns, who they probably want to be a babyface post Tribal Chief, big 1,000+ day title run, realigning himself with the Usos and perhaps even Sami Zayn once again. And this new bloodline being run by The Rock, right? We got Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga right now, with Jacob Fatu seemingly on the way. That's 3. And we find out that Solo has been taking orders from The Rock, the final boss. What do you guys think? Bloodline Civil War? War Games? I know I'm not the only one that's been talking about this potentially happening later in the year. I want to see it, man. I want to see it. We'll see how Cody Rhodes plays into all this. He's probably going to have a match with The Rock at SummerSlam or something. We're probably going to maybe see Cody Roman one more time. Maybe. I think we should, honestly, if you ask me. I think that's definitely something that should happen. But man, think about Bloodline Civil War 2.0. You got the original Bloodline, including Sami Zayn. And then you got the new Bloodline, man. You got Solo. You got Jacob Fatu. You got Tama Tonga. And you got the final boss, The Rock. I think that's how you turn Roman heel. I think you play into Paul Heyman being attacked by the new bloodline, Paul Heyman not being respected by the new bloodline, and Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, coming to the rescue of Paul Heyman. Boom, instant babyface. Years of heat gone for the love of Paul Heyman that the fans have and Roman probably has in real life. I want to see it, man. I know early on we just got caught up and started talking about stuff down the line, but let's keep it going, man. Nonetheless, Tama Tonga, welcome to WWE and welcome to the Bloodline. Jon Moxley becoming the only wrestler in history to hold the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship, and the AEW World Championship. Big accomplishment. I know AEW hasn't been around for too long, but it is taken seriously for the most part and is considered a top-tier promotion for the money. I love AEW. I respect AEW. I am simply repeating what fans think of AEW. I consider AEW and winning an AEW World Championship nonetheless to be very prestigious. Me personally, I am simply going to reflect what the fans think in this as well, though. So yeah, man. Nonetheless, Jon Moxley winning the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship this past Friday night at New Japan Pro Wrestling's show in Chicago, Windy City Riot. Listen, guys, we knew the main event was going to be Tetsuya Naito defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Jon Moxley, but You could have asked anybody in that building, you think Moxley's going to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship? 9 out of 10 of those people would have said no. You would have asked me, I would have said it's going to be a kick-ass match, but no. But New Japan goes ahead and pulls the trigger, making Jon Moxley the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. That is so exciting, man. That was so unexpected. I had a little freak out when Jon Moxley had Tetsuya Naito pinned on the mat for that 3 count. Oh my goodness, man. That was crazy. I actually read something online. Since I don't remember the exact date. Since 2020, it was the first time coming out of WrestleMania that Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Jon Moxley didn't have a title. And that lasted like 5 days because a couple days later, man, the first Friday coming out of WrestleMania, Jon Moxley wins the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I told y'all, when WWE puts their best foot forward, these other promotions have no choice but to fall in line and no choice but to pull the trigger on things like this. No choice but to give the fans their absolute best. And we saw that with New Japan Pro Wrestling, man. We're going to see that with AEW. I truly believe. We'll get into that, man. We'll get into that. Nonetheless, man, Jon Moxley, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Very exciting. Does that make you guys want to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling now that Jon Moxley is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion? For those of you who do not watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, does that entice you guys at all? I would like to know because I've been watching New Japan for years. So obviously I'm keeping up with it, but I understand that everyone does not keep up with it. So please, if you're a casual fan, have never watched New Japan or do not watch too much New Japan, does Jon Moxley winning that IWGP World Heavyweight Championship make you want to watch more New Japan? Let me know. Please let me know. Let's get into the news. We got Roman Reigns in Madden 24. A Roman Reigns card has been created for Madden Ultimate Team. Very exciting stuff, man. It's really cool to see WWE reaching new heights. I can't say that this is something I've seen in the past. I used to play a lot of Madden, actually, and then truthfully, the game got a little too toxic for me. Not with it anymore, man. Not doing the microtransactions. Not doing the ridiculous grind, not doing the ridiculous pack odds. Not anymore, man. But I am down for a good sports game, and I do love the virtual card collecting that these sports games do present. Madden just kind of threw game mechanics out of the window the past few years, and no more for me. But for those of you that do play Madden Ultimate Team, not trying to diss your hobby at all, because I was once a mutthead myself. Roman Reigns in the game, Madden 24. Pretty sick. Pretty cool, man. We're seeing wrestling pop up in places we haven't seen wrestling pop up too much in the past. So I'm always here to celebrate that, man. I am always here to celebrate that. Next, man, we got to talk about the hard stuff, man. AEW takes 2 big shots at WWE during this past week's episode of Dynamite. We'll start with the first one, man. I'll tell you right now. I am not gonna jump on the AEW hate bandwagon like seemingly everyone else has. I'm not trying to call other people in the space out. If you believe that what AEW did was scummy and despicable, it would be hard to disagree with you, to be honest. It would really be hard to disagree with you. But listen, man, at a time when WWE was seemingly at an all-time low and AEW came onto the scene, it made me a huge fan. I will always have a special place in my heart for that. They really did help me retain that passion for pro wrestling when WWE was really hard to watch. So for that, I will always be forever grateful for AEW. And I'm gonna call them out here. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not one to jump on the bandwagon. I'm one to keep it real with you. And honestly, surprisingly, this did not bother me too much. Let me tell you why. Showing of the footage of CM Punk, that was grimy. They shouldn't have done that. I'm not going to lie. They didn't need to do that. And I think a lot of people in that locker room would probably agree with me. They didn't need to do that. it didn't deter anyone away from AEW, in my humble opinion. Whoever was talking bad about AEW because of the Brawl Out situation, because of the Brawl In situation in London last year, probably didn't watch AEW to begin with. Those of us watching AEW before all that stuff continued watching AEW. It just gave the haters a platform and something to continually bring up. So if you're going to keep bringing up, if AEW themselves are going to keep bringing it up, the haters are going to keep bringing it up. And guess what? I don't think too many smart people are loyal only to WWE or loyal only to AEW. Notice how I said smart people. Let's leave it there. But if you give fans something to criticize, they're going to criticize you. So let's try to give fans less stuff to criticize you about. And this right here was a cheap move. I understand they wanted to show that CM Punk was in the wrong. And I'm one to believe that he was in the wrong personally. This is a personal opinion. If you guys think he was in the right, then good for you. Honestly, that's great. I'm not going to die on this hill. Like, at the end of the day, I could care less, to be honest. I care about the show and what the show is about, not what the backstage bullshit is about. If it's me in that locker room and I'm an older guy, I'm not going to go around choking out the younger guys. I'm just not that's bully behavior. It's giving off bully vibes, if you ask me. What are you bullying these younger guys for? I'm sure Jack Perry's a little shit and he probably said something to CM Punk. But guess what, dude? As a man, I've had people say shit to my face, and I have been able to lower my tone, chill the fuck out, and not beat the shit out of somebody when I really wanted to. We get these urges to put our hands on people when they say some shit, but it doesn't mean we have to act on it. It's a sign of maturity when you don't act on it, in my opinion. That's just how I roll. That's just how I live, man. I put my hands on people for self-defense. That's how I roll. And of course, we're getting into it because I'm explaining my take on this stuff. So, yeah, it's giving off bully vibes for me, to be honest. CM Punk putting his hands on Jack Perry. What do you care if Jack Perry says, man? You care, man. You're in a different bracket than Jack Perry. If I'm CM Punk, I'm like, I'm in a different bracket. You want to talk shit, you little bro? Go ahead, bro. I don't give a shit. I don't care. It's fine. Talk your talk. You ain't going to be in the main event like I am. No, it shows insecurity if CM Punk has got to put his hands on a young kid, a young entitled kid like Jack Perry. It shows insecurity. That's what it shows for me, man. So, yeah, I do think CM Punk was in the wrong, but I'm still a fan. And I still think it was wrong for AEW to show this content. Because I thought this before I saw the backstage footage of All In. CM Punk himself said, I choked him out a little bit. He admitted to it already. There was no need to show this stuff. Let me get into why I didn't care as much as other people did. It didn't ruin the show for me. They spun it in a way that made you hate the Young Bucks, who are heels, and then gave FTR the platform to speak what was on the mind of the fans. So they made you appreciate the babyface and made you hate the heels more. They even had the Young Bucks explaining, we're going to show this footage because the last time we faced FTR for those World Tag Team titles, we didn't have our wrestler caps on. We had our EVP caps on because we had to handle a situation backstage, which is what we're going to show. It was there to give the Young Bucks heat. Of course, we're in a social media era where the fans see right through that shit and don't exactly resonate the heat with the Young Bucks. More so they do with Tony Khan or whoever made the decision. I don't know. But honestly, A for effort, you wanted to put some more heat on the Young Bucks, who are supposed to be dastardly heels. And you gave FTR a platform to speak the minds of the fans, as a babyface should. So for me, like, they did put the effort in to make it make sense. And it wasn't a deal breaker for me. I'm still going to watch AEW, even if I don't agree with that personal booking decision. Let's get into the second shot. Let's get into Will Ospreay personally calling out Triple H. Triple H said something at the, what do they call it? They used to call it WrestleMania Access. Now they call it WWE World, I believe. Triple H was on the Pat McAfee show, a live panel at WWE World. And basically referred to Will Ospreay's comments about working less dates in AEW. That's kind of, I'm sure a lot of fans took it that way. I took it that way. And I'm honestly, I can't speak for Triple H. I can't speak for Uncle Trips. But I'm sure Uncle Trips meant to refer to Will Ospreay when he said what he said on the Pat McAfee show. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And with that being said, is it a little desperate for Will Ospreay to come on AEW Dynamite and mention Triple H, mention Uncle Trips, mention the only reason where he's at because he was grinding on the boss's daughter, so don't tell me that I don't know how to grind. Whatever he said, hey man, the best pro wrestling has real stuff. The best jokes contain true shit, as J. Cole said on 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Pulling out the references today. This didn't bother me. This felt real. Pro wrestling is at its best when it feels real, like I just said. The the all-in footage from the Young Bucks bothered me more than the Will Ospreay comments did. If Tony wants to do business this way and call out WWE, while I don't agree with it, it's not going to prevent me from watching AEW because I do think AEW has must-watch bell-to-bell content. Their storytelling may not be there. They differentiate themselves from WWE because they're a little bit more of a less story, more in-ring action type of promotion. And don't get me wrong, there always has to be a story in pro wrestling. But if WWE is going to make cinematic masterpieces with their stories and AEW is going to have a story for the sake of having a story, for the sake of getting fans invested in a bell-to-bell match, then that's fine. I understand what I'm getting into when I watch AEW. I'm getting into the bell-to-bell action. Whereas with WWE, yes, the bell-to-bell action is fantastic. But I know I'm going to get cinema from WWE from this point on, in the Paul Levesque era, in the Uncle Trips era. Take a drink every time I say Uncle Trips. And then don't drive. I'm just playing. Yeah. Where was I, man? Will Ospreay making it a little real, calling out Uncle Trips. That didn't bother me at all, to be honest. I'd be pissed too if Triple H was saying that indirectly about me on the Pat McAfee show. I'd be pissed too. You know Triple H wants Will Ospreay too. That's the thing too, is it's a bunch of bullshit. You know WWE would do anything to have Will Ospreay right now because he's fantastic. And his time in WWE has got them saying, shit, we should have offered him more money. I guarantee that. I can't guarantee anything. You never know for sure. But I have a strong feeling. Let's get into this last piece of news before we get into the watch list. I'm very excited to talk about the watch list. And man, we're already hitting 20 minutes and haven't even touched that shit yet. So let's go. Kenny Omega comments on the Brawl Out situation, 2022 AEW All Out, the initial skirmish between CM Punk, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. We saw Kenny Omega streaming on what was Twitch, seemingly. If I had to guess, it was probably a Twitch stream. And he commented. He commented on his status as an EVP. He commented specifically on what kind of power he has in AEW. And he said, I don't have power in the company. Why? Because I'm a terrible EVP. That's from the mouth of Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega keeping it real, man. I think I just think Kenny Omega wants to wrestle, man. I don't think he wants to get into all the bullshit that EVPs get into. And to be honest, I think EVP is just kind of a title for these wrestlers that helped kickstart AEW. Maybe their word has a little bit of clout. I think the Young Bucks help with the stories and booking, which to me is fine. Like, I think, if anything, a couple more tag teams should have been won the championship by now. Like Private Party is probably should have won the AEW World Tag Team titles by now. But other than that, man, maybe Santana and Ortiz. Other than that, I really don't care enough about another wrestler's EVP status to even really expand on this too much. I just think it was cool for Kenny Omega to be like, yeah, I'm an EVP at AEW, and I probably shouldn't be. That's literally what he said. And then he talked about how he wanted to handle the situation when CM Punk and the Young Bucks got in a little bit of a skirmish. His main priority was to get the dog out of there. CM Punk's dog, Larry, as a cool dude, as a dog father myself, I appreciate that. But like, I don't know, man. Maybe the Young Bucks have given AEW kind of a bad rep, but don't let that prevent you from enjoying phenomenal athletes like Will Ospreay, phenomenal athletes like Kenny Omega, phenomenal athletes like Jay White, phenomenal athletes like Adam Cole, phenomenal athletes. I could literally keep going, man. I could keep going. Swerve Strickland. Let's get into the watch list. I know I'm running a bit long today, and I really do try to respect the time of you guys. But hopefully someone out there appreciates the analysis that I'm providing, appreciates the in-depth commentary that I'm providing here. If you do, throw a little one up in the comments or something like that. You know, I really appreciate that. For those of you that would rather me kind of get more to the point, stop lingering around the same topic so much, I apologize. Let's get into the watch list, man. Monday Night Raw, at the time of this recording, has already happened. Sorry, Sunday got a little busy. Tax season. You know how it goes. Sami Zayn defends the Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable. Again, at the time of this recording. Already happened. Oops. If you haven't seen Monday Night Raw, I would check it out. It was very eventful for a plethora of reasons. I won't spoil it for you. Go check it out. Definitely I won't say must watch, but I'll say a should watch episode of Monday Night Raw. We'll go there. Tuesday, NXT. Only a little over a week removed from their initial encounter. Carmelo Hayes will now face Trick Williams in a steel cage match on Tuesday's episode of NXT. You best believe I'm going to watch me some NXT this week. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm not the biggest NXT fan these days. Nothing against NXT. I just don't end up watching it too much, to be honest with you. But yeah, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams getting in the steel cage. Let's do it, man. That's exciting as hell. Then we got SmackDown on Friday. Bayley defends the WWE Women's Championship against Naomi. Might even tune in for that too, man. I'm very excited to see what Bayley is able to cook up in this WWE Women's Championship reign of hers. It seems like just yesterday, she was breaking records as one of the longest reigning women's champions. Oh, I said that right the first time. I don't know why I'm correcting myself. Seems like it was yesterday that Bayley was the SmackDown Women's Champion, holding that belt for a very long time. Is what the hell I'm trying to say. And here we go. Another championship reign for Bayley, established at WrestleMania 40. Very excited to see what she does. I think she's great. She's one of my favorites. Let's get into the good stuff, man. We got a big show on Saturday and a big show on Sunday. It's going to be a fantastic weekend of wrestling. We got TNA Rebellion. Let's run down this card. We got Josh Alexander facing Hammerstone in a last man standing match. We got Frankie Kazarian facing Eric Young in a Full Metal Mayhem match. We got Mustafa Ali defending the X Division Championship against Jake Something. We got the System defending the TNA World Tag Team titles against Speedball Mountain. Jordan Grace defends the Knockouts World Championship against Steph DeLander. And Moose defends the TNA World Championship against Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. Very exciting stuff, man. We got two, I call them stipulation matches, right? We got a last man standing match, and we got a Full Metal Mayhem match on this card. Very exciting. TNA definitely putting their best foot forward this Saturday on the 20th of April. Very excited to see that shit, man. Definitely thinking about sitting down and watching some TNA this Saturday. Again, full transparency, I don't watch TNA weekly. I keep up with TNA weekly. I don't watch TNA weekly. I do watch these premium live events and pay-per-views that they put out, or I at least try to. It is a priority of mine to watch TNA Rebellion this Saturday. I'm so intrigued to see if Nick Nemeth wins that TNA World Championship. I honestly don't think he will, but at this point, last week I didn't think Jon Moxley was going to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and he did. Dude, I think anything can happen. That's such a great place to be in pro wrestling, man. Anything can happen. These main events that New Japan puts out, that TNA puts out, I'm eager to watch them because I want to see if Nick Nemeth is going to have 2 championships around his shoulders after Saturday night. He's already the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion for New Japan, and he might be the TNA World Champion. I'm not going to put it past TNA to give Nick Nemeth that belt. I'm really not. And I think it's going to be great. And I think Nick Nemeth has something to prove. And he will work a world champion schedule for TNA while also working that IWGP Global Heavyweight Champions schedule for New Japan. Super cool stuff, man. I'm here for it 100%. 100%. Last but not least, man, before we get out of here, AEW Dynasty. AEW Dinosaur. I'm just kidding. AEW Dynasty. The first Dynasty pay-per-view that AEW has ever put on. And it's got a big name, man, Dynasty. And I understand why they're calling the show Dynasty. Because AEW is trying to put together one of the best pro wrestling rosters that the fans have ever seen. Like I said, they may not be good at telling stories like WWE is. And they may have some issues backstage. They may have a power situation backstage as well. But nonetheless, man, their slogan these days is where the best wrestle. AEW is where the best wrestle. And this is going to be a great wrestling show. Let's go down the card, man. Roderick Strong defends the AEW International Championship against Kyle O'Reilly. I'm really pulling for Kyle O'Reilly in this match simply because it's called the International Championship. I don't know why AEW loves to put what is called the International Championship on white guys all the time, on Americans. Sorry. You call it the International Championship, put it on Konosuke Takeshita, put it on Will Ospreay. Come on, man, make it make sense. I'm a big fan of making it make sense. That doesn't make sense. Sorry. Kazuchika Okada defends the AEW Continental Classic against Pac. Dude. Okada versus Pac. Come on now, dude. Hell yeah. The AEW Continental Championship may be early in its days. It may not mean too much, but this match itself may make it mean something more. I don't want to say that the Continental Championship doesn't mean much. They just put it over as this Triple Crown Championship, and then they separated the belts. They introduced it like they were going to consolidate championships, and now they just have extra championships. If you make a commitment to make a Triple Crown Championship with the ROH World Title, the New Japan Strong Openweight Title, and the AEW Continental Crown, then you got to hold up to it. I understand you get excited when a guy like Okada comes in, but dude, now it's a completely new belt. Now that it's not the Triple Crown, it's a completely new belt. So they got to reestablish it because I thought it was doing great when Eddie Kingston had it. But like I said, in my mind, you tell me this is going to be a triple crown. That's why it's important, because it's 3 different championships, and then you separate them months later. I'm not going to carry that same love for this new single championship that I did for this triple crown. I don't know, man. I know I'm hard on AEW, but you gotta be. They deserve my critiques, honestly. They do. Timeless Tony Storm defends the AEW Women's World Championship against Thunder Rosa. Very exciting stuff, man. I feel like the AEW Women's World Championship fell off when Thunder Rosa had to vacate it after injury. I think the Women's World Championship, the history of it was great up until 2022, when Thunder Rosa was unfortunately unable to be a worthy Women's World Champion. And then they had to do the interim World Championship for Toni Storm. And then we had Jamie Hayter, who was great. I just think it's been a bit of a mess since Thunder Rosa held it last a couple of years ago. And if she is to win this match, it will be interesting to see this second chance given to her to be the AEW Women's World Champion. But then again, man, Timeless Toni Storm has been on her stuff. She's been a boss. She's been a beast. And I could see her holding this belt for months and months and months to come. I think she's very entertaining. I think this character that she's created is fantastic. When she's on the screen, I'm watching because her character is fantastic. Next, man, the Young Bucks take on FTR in a ladder match for the vacant AEW World Tag Team titles. Come on, bro. Young Bucks FTR ladder match. Come on, bro. You could be the biggest AEW hater, and you can't look me in the eye and tell me that you ain't excited for that shit. Try it. I'll wait. I'm just messing around. Next, man, Julia Hart defends the TBS Championship against Willow Nightingale. I think Willow's got the win here to set up Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship. Ultimately, going down the line, I do think Mercedes Moné will be the TBS champion, and I do think she will be a focal point of AEW Dynamite, which is on TBS every Wednesday. I may critique AEW, but I'm out here giving them free publicity. But yeah, I think Willow Nightingale wins this for sure. Faces Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné holds that TBS championship and defends it pretty much every other week on AEW Dynamite from there. And I think that is a recipe for success. The TBS championship is soon to be Moné. Last but not least, man, Samoa Joe defends the AEW World Championship against Swerve Strickland. Swerve is my guy, man. Swerve is my guy. And I really want him to win the AEW World Championship. That right there is a step in the right direction. Let's just hope, because man, a lot of fans like me want Swerve to win the world title, to be the first African-American AEW World Champion. Let's just hope that he lives up to the hype, though, right? I think he will, but there's always that animosity that he might not. So we'll see what happens, man. Nonetheless, man, I think there's a good chance that Swerve Strickland wins the AEW World Championship this Sunday. Very excited for that, man. I'm a huge Swerve fan. This guy, Swerve Strickland, represents the underdog in all of us, represents that dog in all of us. So I'm very excited to see what comes of this. And I really do think this is Swerve's time, and AEW is putting the pieces in place to truly build a dynasty. I see it, man. I see it. We may not be there yet, but I do see it. I do see the light at the end of the tunnel here in what was a pretty lackluster era of AEW, I would say, truthfully. That's all I got, man. 35 minutes on an episode. Rambling hot. We rambling like crazy today. Sorry, unless you enjoyed it. Then you're welcome. I'll catch you guys later, man. Definitely going to be a show next week to talk about the fallout of AEW Dynasty. So let's get it, man. We also got WWE Backlash around the corner. So we're definitely going to be talking about that. So you're going to be seeing my face at the end and beginning of every week, pretty often from here. All right, y'all. Take care. Be good.